Ni tu. Salam. Bagi mendalami nilai Universal Ekonomi Islam, kerajaan menyediakan 20 juta ringgit bagi merancangkan kajian serta kreativiti dan inovasi ekonomi Islam.
For over 15 years, ISRA has been at the forefront of applied Sharia research in Islamic finance, achieving a global reputation for innovation. Introducing ISRA Institute, a transformation driven by a bold vision to serve as a hub for applied research and innovation, leading the way in shaping the global landscape of Islamic economics and finance through impactful solutions and forward-thinking strategies. Driven by purpose and innovation, INCEIF University introduces its 3 centers of excellence, setting new benchmarks in Islamic finance and thought leadership. Center of Excellence for Applied Sharia Economic and Finance. CASHiEF aspires to become a premier global research center in applied Sharia, focusing on nurturing highly skilled Sharia scholars and groundbreaking research that aligns with the objectives of Maqasid Sharia. Center of Excellence for Islamic Social Finance, CoEISF, aims to be a global thought leader in Islamic social finance by delivering impactful, community-driven research and innovative solutions, emphasizing greater societal values. Center of Excellence for Research and Innovation in Islamic Economics, IRISE, strives to be a global leader in Islamic economics research and innovation, offering policy recommendations to governments and delivering impactful solutions to economic challenges. These centers of excellence lead the charge in Sharia-compliant frameworks, policy-focused research, and impactful Islamic social finance solutions. As we step into this new chapter, ISRA Institute will continue to drive impactful research, foster innovation, and nurture the next generation of thought leaders.
I've listened with interest to Bazmi's remarks on the research pillars. I have the privilege to then submit that one core pillar is suddenly missing. You assume that we have the resources. You assume that Islamic finance and economic can function without proper governance, without macroeconomic policies that can promote growth and development. And this, to my mind, as I argued decades ago with Dato a fundamental flaw in many of our research works. Yes, we need to confine ourselves and separate disciplines and specialized subjects. But look at our countries, look at the Muslim countries. The central core is, of course, the issue of governance. How do you then manage an economic system that is able to propel economic growth and progress? That is why in the core pillar of Madani, we start with sustainability. The there must be clarity in policies. And in governance means avoid the leakages, avoid endemic corruption. Because our countries are not poor. Almost without exception, Muslim countries are not poor. But the poverty because of the tendency to either condone and use power and privilege to squander wealth. So I think we have to address not necessarily a political study, but to see what it takes to start with the correct premise. The governance is essential. The governance that support an alternative agenda. Of course, we have to go with the conventional system, but remain committed to support an alternative study, research, and allow Islamic economics and Islamic instruments to be practiced and to be supported and expanded. So do not ignore this importance of what proper and good governance entails. Through good governance with clear before part policy instruments, institutions to protect the system from excesses. Then clarity of policies. You can talk about inclusivity. They come next. So I'm not disputing the pillar, Professor Vidul. I'm not an academic. Fortunately, I'm not. I tried. I didn't succeed. So that is fine with the pillar, but I think overriding, overarching compass that we talk about is finally governance and clarity of policies. What it takes to ensure that countries grow, have that capacity to attract domestic investments and of course foreign direct investments, particularly in Malaysia as a trading nation, open up new markets. You can talk about halal industry, but what is halal industry if you don't engage and expand the markets and the horizons? New markets, new possibilities. You can talk about the potential of halal, $1 trillion, $3 trillion. What does it mean? We are not able to penetrate new markets. It's precisely the reason why I see that macroeconomic policies, clarity of policies is essential. And pillar that has been largely ignored, partly because of the political sensitivity. You think that probably government would not tolerate and probably not support the enterprise. But I can assure you, we have promised 20 million, we have only paid 10 million. He didn't say it, he was polite enough. But I see all treasury are like that. They approve and then they take 6 months to approve the second plan. Not as bad as Bank Negara, of course. Don't worry, we get that. The first thing, I came in, a typical scholar, committed to his program, and with just passion. He didn't ask me, Anwar, have you had your lunch? Why are you look so much in a hurry? About your health? Tak ada. We have just only received 10 million. We are waiting. No, I apologize. I'm a bit late today because I was entertaining the official visit of the President of Poland, President Duda, and he is, of course, extended his time a bit. He's supposed to leave. He was supposed to leave at 1:30, but we continued, and we had some of the exchanges because he happens to be now chair of the EU, European Union, and he thought that it would be useful to then explore new markets and possibilities in his engagement with me as, of course, for Malaysia, but also as chair of ASEAN. So that's why I think we extended 45 minutes extra. Now, so you know they project their value of the halal industry, even, as I've said, but it stems again about governance, about proper certification, the right strategy. See, these things have got to be discussed. You know, we are known to be one of the major centers of certification. What do? China said we want halal industry, can JAKIM help with the certification? Then Vietnam, then there's no Poland. But what do? Is our role just provide certification, or our role to view the interests of Islamic economics as a whole? You give certification, you say, look, work with some industries here, have joint ventures. So you will have that new penetrative, new markets from China, but having Malaysian business interests in place. That has been our new instructions and directives, so that there are people who work with HRD. Now, Prof, you must insist that these issues must be studied in greater detail. That would help us, the policymakers, to conduct and give us policies that would enhance the entire Islamic economics, from banking to takaful to other instruments and to halal. And then, of course, the whole macroeconomic picture from Islamic economic standpoint is relevant. We don't see economics as homo economicus, economic man. We see economics as I tried to espouse in the Madani concept on justice, to resolve the problem and inequity, to ensure participation and of women in the workplace. These issues must be dealt with by the Islamic Bank, because it's not necessarily an issue that's been, for example, the core issues deliberated by our Commission of Banks. Although I know all bankers are here, I am supposed to support all banks. Yes, I do. But to us, sustainability is not sustainability in the Western mindset or framework. Our sustainability stems from the whole issue of humane governance, of justice, of compassion. Conventional understanding that to us, sustainability must entail what we term as values of justice, of compassion. So we have to deal with the issue of abject poverty. I would certainly say that in terms of governance as a whole, would fail. We don't address these issues. Of course, climate is one. Gender participation is number two. Abject poverty, which must be addressed. And in the macroeconomic framework, the new technology. How do we ignore in INCEIF, for example? Governance that would focus on the need to drive the new talents on the issue of artificial intelligence, to digital transformation, to energy transition. They are relevant. There's new subjects. It's not just between conventional bank and Islamic bank and instruments anymore. So it has to be expanded. So don't worry about that. I'm not reading my text. I just thought of something else after listening to you just now. So I'm just sharing some of my concerns and impressing upon you that we should start with the core pillars. Yes, I don't think everyone should be talking about governance and anti-corruption and no, but I think that policy, both the leaders and the corporate players and those who talk about Islamic finance and the financial instrument must be reminded that one of the major flaws in the issue of governance is not just that they're not Islamic in terms of Islamic instruments, but because they're blatantly corrupt and abuse of power. So I think we have to address this. Fail as a country not because, oh no, you fail because you don't follow the Sharia. That's what I learned in the 70s. But when you start reading and go deeper into this, you realize, of course, this is our duty to understand the Sharia and try to apply. But the failure is, of course, basic human flaw, endemic corruption. Of course, if you ask me then, Anwar now as Prime Minister, why not doing your utmost? Of course, I do. To the best of my capacity, Islah mastata'tu, keupayaan, but we have to move. Because there are some impatient ones say, no, move down. You can move down, you'll be thrown out tomorrow. So it has to be with wisdom. Bil hikmah means a lot, not only in how you profess, but how you act. Do you have these resources? Do you have the necessary support? Are you able to convince the ruling elite and the professional elites that this is a mission that must be supported by all? And what are the stages? Where do you begin? Can you just undertake this massive reform in a year, or 2 years, or 3 years? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But what I know is there's no turning back. What I am certain is that every month and every year there must be some progression. Okay. For those who are impatient and wants fast, I mean, they're of course blinded to the facts and the reality. Okay. Number one, if you talk about keadilan, we have 30 seats in Parliament. If you talk about Pakatan Harapan, we have 82 in Parliament. It's not even a simple majority. So there is a coalition that work together. And we are fortunate because UMNO, Barisan Nasional, has now turned to be one of the core pillars committed to this reform and support. But you can't take things for granted because the process of negotiations, discussions, engagement is important. Why do I stress this point? Because it is relevant with what we say. If we do not get that consensus between the key parties, including of course the JPS and GRS, then how do you embark and support this sort of alternative programs like the INCEIF and now IRISE, and of course the alternative complex? I don't know whether it seems to be relevant. Like if it's not relevant, doesn't matter. But I just want to provoke this to get the scholars and intellectuals and professionals to seriously think about the pillars, which cannot ignore the importance, of course, of to address the issue of inequity, abject poverty, gender equality. Malaysia is quite fortunate that at least you have some recognition. But it's not the case. It's not the norm in Muslim countries. So we need to make sure justice is not what our obscure sort of interpretation, but something that we truly believe and continue to act to make sure that, as I remember my home, Ismail Faruqi used to tell me, is actualization of the ideal. To how to implement that. That's what called the major test. So, terima kasih Abang Amin. Jadi kena susun semula ucapan saya. Lebih teratur. Kemudian biar saya edit dan you boleh edit. Jadi sekali lagi saya ucap terima kasih dan
during its formative period in the 1950s and 70s. From Bakir As-Sadr, Khurshid Ahmad, Omar Chapra to Mundir Kahaf, these pioneering thinkers laid the foundation for an economic system that safeguards justice, nurtures equity, and prioritizes collective welfare of society. Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi stated in his book, the role of values and ethics in the Islamic economy, the Islamic economy is a system that is built upon four fundamental features: divine, ethical, humane, and moderate. A bit of commercial break here. The book, which was translated from Arabic to English in 2024 with the financial support from our strategic partner Maybank Islamic Berhad, is available for reading online via our knowledge repository iFikir, and will soon be available in hard copies at INCEIF Iqra books. The role of values and morals as well as ethics in the Islamic justice and brotherhood with love. However, in navigating the realities of global financial markets, where economic incentives often take precedence over religious behavioral norms, Islamic finance was inevitably shaped by the dominant architecture driven by efficiency, scale, and profitability. To adapt, Islamic finance embraced financial engineering, adjusting its practices to meet Sharia requirements while aligning with conventional market demands. It ended up replicating فَلَنُحْيِيَنَّهُ حَيَاةً طَيِّبَةً وَلَنَجْزِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْرَهُمْ بِأَحْسَنِ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their rewards in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.